All right, today I'm going to be reviewing The Evolution of Everything. How New Ideas Emerge by Matt Ridley. So, Matt Ridley wrote The Rational Optimist. He also wrote Genome, The Red Queen, and maybe some others. He's a big science writer. He wrote the last book I reviewed, which is The Rational Optimist. This is his follow-up book, The Evolution of Everything. And this book really expands on some of the ideas that he introduced in The Rational Optimist. Most notably that prosperity comes from the evolution of ideas. In this book, he expands on that and he shows how evolution is occurring not just in ideas, but in all kinds of things. And really, this whole book is laid out as just like a topic-by-topic examination of how evolution works in different fields. And to show you just how extreme this is, let me show you the table of contents. And you can see like all the chapters are just named the evolution of this, the evolution of that. And it just goes through subject by subject talking about evolution in that field. And it's interesting. I mean, I like a lot of these, the chapters where he talks about evolution in these different areas, but the book comes across as like very tedious almost and redundant because he's telling the same story in different subjects, and he never gets any deeper than just showing evolution working in the field. Like the thing I was the most disappointed with, he never takes the time to extract the abstract mechanics of evolution and really identify the different stages and then, examine how things work when the different stages fail. Because for me, I see evolution in so many different areas that I was really interested to read this book. But like when I see evolution, I simplify evolution down to just an iterative process. Really, the kind of loop that is going on in evolution, it's the same loop that happens in a lot of other areas. You have, some kind of test. In evolution, it's whether or not you reproduce or whether you don't reproduce. But there's some kind of test against reality where you get feedback and then you make changes and then you test that new version of whatever you're working on to see how that works. And then if it's good, then you keep the change and you try new changes. And if it's bad, you throw out that change and you go back to where you were before. And that process just repeats itself as, products. We try new products. If they're not good, we throw them out. If they're good, we keep them. Then we change them, make them a little bit better. And that iterative process is happening all over the place. It happens when you learn skills. It happens in biology. If you live, you pass on your genes. If you don't, you kind of go extinct. But that process is happening everywhere. And if you examine all the different stages, he could have used this way of kind of elucidating the abstract mechanics to kind of find more interesting insights and different examples of where evolution didn't happen, because I see it happening all over the place. Like it happened in communism spectacularly, where there was no feedback mechanism at all, where people had no way of giving their input into whether or not goods and services were satisfying their demands or whether they were bad or anything like that. And so without that feedback mechanism, the whole economy just stagnated because there's just no way to develop good products and services without some kind of feedback so you know whether or not what you're doing is good or bad. And I could go on and on about that subject, but I think you get the point, was that there's an abstract process going on in evolution, and it's that abstract process being manifested in reality that gives evolutionary processes their juice. That's the magic that's happening, is this iterative process. And there's nothing magical inherent to evolution. It was just that biology and life stumbled upon the abstract mechanics of an iterative process And when they had all the pieces together, evolution just took off. But really, it was stumbling upon that magical iterative loop that fueled evolution. And I think it's that iterative loop that fuels everything. That's how skills, that's like I said, it's how skills are made. It's how you learn. It's how ideas get better. It's how products get better. It's how everything gets better. And this book was written all about that abstract process, but it never talks about the abstract process. It never gets to that level of analysis. And I think it would have been interesting if you would have got there, because when you get there, you see that that's exactly what's happening in machine learning. Like if you look at the algorithms, that's exactly what they're doing. They're making a small change and they're testing to see whether that change had a good or bad impact. And then based on that, they throw it out or they keep it and move on. And that's all machine learning is. It's just doing that in more complex ways. And so there's a way to kind of take the idea in this book and connect it to so many different topics. And really, it would have been such a good book if it could have done that. But he doesn't do that. And I feel like the book just left so much on the table. Even though he made a pretty good argument, even though the book was pretty entertaining, even though I think I would still recommend it, I do feel like he just left so much on the table, and that left a really kind of unsatisfied feeling in my stomach when I was done reading the book. And that's a little unfortunate. But, he's one of the only people to really write a book directly on this subject, so maybe more books will come out in the future that kind of elaborate on the subject a little bit more. Maybe I'll like those books a bit better. So I hope you guys like this review. I've got more reviews coming soon. So like, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.